Hello and welcome to Ultimate Orlando Clicks. Let's get started on Main Street, where, as you can see, we are looking at City Hall in Town Square. Now, City Hall has had some construction going on for a couple of weeks, these low walls out in front. What they're doing is removing some planters that were in the area before. It made the area pretty, but it also made for some bottlenecks. As you can see, they've done some work out in front here already, where the ground is more flat now and more accessible, getting rid of the bottlenecks in what appears to be the off-season. And since it is the off-season, they are spending more and more time with these scrims. What they do here is they cover up a building and put up the scaffolding and the lattice and all of that so that they can work on the outside of the building. But then they also print these very expensive silk screens of what the building would look like normally, so it doesn't disrupt the sight lines and people's vacation photos and that sort of thing. It's very nice when they do that. They don't always do it, but frequently they do in a high visibility location like this shop on Main Street. And sometimes when they need to extend the scrim out, what they'll do is they'll build a little bit of a tunnel so people can still go through, particularly when there are parades going on. This is an urgent thing they have to do. Switching our view over to Tomorrowland, you can see that we are standing next to the Rose Garden and having a look at Cosmic Rays in the background. So Cosmic Rays is this restaurant. These scrim walls have been up for a couple of weeks now, and what they're actually doing is they are replacing those outside railings and with actual walls and glass. So what they're doing basically is enclosing the outdoor patio area here and making for a larger dining area on the inside. Many times of the year, even here in February, Florida is not that hospitable to outdoor weather, so it needs to be air cooled, and so bringing the dining room further out is going to increase capacity basically for that restaurant. It's the off season, so they use the season to do necessary repair work, and here they're doing some cleaning, I think it is, on the spires of Cinderella Castle. They have a crane set up in the Frontierland courtyard behind it, which means that the pathway over by Merida is blocked off while they're doing this. So it's slightly inconvenient when they're doing these pieces of necessary maintenance, but it does mean that the parks look great year-round as a result. They are also, of course, continuing to build the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster. So last week what they did is added these trees, and if you look very carefully, you'll be able to see they've also added some shrubs, and those have come into place since the prior week. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see that these shrubs are on sticks that are still kind of prominently sticking out. One assumes that most of this area, which is currently green, will be carpeted over with some kind of grass, fake grass, I'm sure, like these fake trees and fake shrubs, so that it will all look and function a little seamlessly once it's all built. Here's another look for you from another angle, so you can see how the trees kind of fit together. There are some real trees in the foreground here, and then the artificial trees dotting most of the mountain landscape, and the shrubs coming into play, coming into existence between the trees. So it's overall giving a nice aesthetic look to it. Now here's something I haven't seen very frequently, so I thought I would capture it with photos. Now we are standing in Dumbo's Storybook Circus, where the train is filling up from the water tower. And they do that pretty regularly, but what they don't always do is something called a blowdown. And what they do here is they release a bunch of steam down at the bottom of the engine. A blowdown is necessary to remove impurities from the boiler tank, and it's necessary for the proper functioning of the train. Now, I have seen blowdowns occasionally, but I've rarely seen blowdowns happen where the conditions are just right for the entire area to steam up and fog up like this. So I guess it has to be just the right combination of temperature and humidity in the air. And I think we had that on this particular Saturday when this picture was taken, so that the entire train almost gets engulfed by this fog that erupts during the blowdown. It's often a lot more invisible than that process, so I thought I would capture it for you since I had it in my camera sights this time around. Looking at still more construction, this time from the People Mover, looking down into the Buzz Lightyear FastPass machines, or should I say former machines. It looks like they are completely gone, so the area soon will be just back to walkway. Now across the walkway from there, over at these former Stitch FastPass machines, those have also been removed and the area converted for FastPass Plus. That's not new. What is new, however, is this sign above the area. And as you can see, it's kind of held in place with these plastic ties, so maybe this is not a permanent sign, but that does seem to be the logo for FastPass Plus, and it seems to be what they're doing now. So they are continuing to make it more visible throughout the parks. Switching back over to Main Street, you can see that there is a wall here in front of Casey's Corner covering up not just the dining area but another planter. They took out a planter in this area over here by the Crystal Palace not too long ago, probably because they needed to make room for the walkway that we have now. It's a thin walkway. And the other side of that dining and planter area is open. You can make your way over to the bathrooms and the baby center and first aid over on the corner here. What they're doing, reportedly, is taking out the planter that's inside here and making even more space for dining. So they have tables and so forth set up out here in Casey's Corner. We'll be able to seat even more people than it does presently. And of course, during the work time itself, Casey's is not serving. It's closed because they have no place to let people eat the food that they buy. Around the corner from all of that, toward the bathrooms and first aid, you can see they've got some more scrim work done over here. This one's not dressed up, probably because it's not seen by that many people, but does show the extent to which they are making changes and keeping things fresh throughout the park. And then finally, one more piece of construction over here where you're next to Tomorrowland Noodle Station or Tomorrowland Terrace as I take this picture. There used to be a planter in this front area here next to the Plaza Restaurant. In fact, where I'm standing, there used to be a planter as well. Both have been removed. And within the past week, an awning has come off of this area here. So if you're ever in this area when it's really crowded on Main Street, like during parade time, let's say, in the evening, what they will sometimes do is open up these cast member doors and let you walk in the backstage area over to Main Street directly. They call it the bypass. Well, the bypass, reportedly, and it looks to be true now given all of this construction here we see here, is reportedly becoming a little bit more prettied up. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but they're going to make the bypass something that happens probably a little bit more often when things are crowded. I doubt we're getting a completely second Main Street or anything back there. There probably won't even be shops, but maybe there'll be carts and so forth selling things. But look for the bypass going forward as a place where you can skip some of that Main Street traffic. So we play a game around here called Where in Walt Disney World Was This? And this is a game asking where something used to be, not where things are presently in the park. And last time around I asked where this was, and a few of you guessed correctly. It was in fact in the living seas. Jason was a little aquatic robot. I don't know how real it was, as opposed to something fanciful created for the pavilion that was about the size of the black hole robots that would float around, if you remember that movie, and it would live off just to the right of where this picture itself was taken. Okay, well, this is your challenge for next week, and as always, I'm not going to say much about it. I'll let you look at it and leave your comment in the section below. See if you can answer that question, where in Walt Disney World was this? That does it for this week of Ultimate Orlando Clicks. We thank you guys for dropping by, and we hope to catch you next week.